Look, after looking at this last game, it was certainly a tough, hard-fought game, and certainly proud of our players for the way they, responded to some very difficult circumstances and situations in the game in a very difficult atmosphere and environment. Thought we did some good things in the game, especially up front on the offensive line and defensive line, and were able to affect the quarterback, control the line of scrimmage, and run the ball effectively, and did a nice job with the turnovers. But, the big thing that I think we need to, focus on is, not having the kind of mistakes and breakdowns in a game that, really create momentum for the other team. Whether it's not covering a punt correctly, fumbling a punt return, getting a penalty on a punt return that causes great field position, 30, 40 yards of field position, loss, getting a punt blocked, making mistakes on defense in the secondary when they make plays, allow them to make big plays and go score, or whether it's having negative plays on offense because we don't execute correctly. So, to me, the focus needs to be on how do you stay locked in and how do you stay focused in the game regardless of the circumstance and the situation that you're in and be able to execute. So that's really what we're trying to get accomplished here this week. But we, Derrick Henry, SEC Offensive Player of the Week, and Minkah Fitzpatrick, the Freshman of the Week, outstanding performances in terms of what they were able to accomplish. You have our players, of the week, and all those guys did a really good job, for us. I think this game coming up, the Tennessee game is a special game to a lot of people. In the state of Alabama, because the tradition and the rivalry that exists here for a long, long time and the history that the game brings. So it's most certainly a special game to us and our team to try to get ready to, play a very good game against a very good Tennessee team. Butch Jones has done a really good job. They've gotten better and better and better every year and could arguably be undefeated or a one-loss team, very easily this year. Two teams came back and beat them late in games, they came back and beat somebody when they were behind 24-3. That's a pretty good team. So they've got good players, and offensively they're very, very good. Quarterback does a good job. The offensive line does a good job. They're, nationally ranked in a lot of categories. They've got two really good running backs. Jalen Hurd and Alvin Kamara have both done a great job for them. Joshua Dobbs, the quarterback, is, very diverse guy, playing a position, running and passing. And they've created a lot of issues and a lot of problems, scored a lot of points this year. Defensively, I know they got a couple guys that have been nicked up, but they play hard, they're physical, and for the most part, they've been hard to score on. That's something that I feel when we can control the ball, it's going to be a key for us in the game. It's really important to how we play and what we do against this team. And this team's very sound and solid with their specialists and on special teams. So, I think Butch Jones has done a really good job. They've gotten better and better every year, and this is the best team they've had for a while.
We'll start in the middle. Cecil.
Hey, Coach, I have two questions, please. First, could you update us on Ryan Kelly and Kenyon Drake coming out of the Texas A&M game?
Kenyon Drake will practice today. Ryan Kelly is under concussion protocol. When he's normal, which he's very close, we'll allow him to resume activity. That's not going to be today unless something changes between now and practice. So we feel like he'll be okay. He's not that bad right now, so we feel like he'll be okay in a few days, but the medical staff has to make that decision.
Okay, and you had alluded to this on your radio show Thursday, but I just wanted to follow up about, it seems like at least in the SEC games, you've gotten off to a better start in the road games than you have in the home games so far, and what distractions do the players face at home, and how do you deal with that?
Well, I don't know. I never thought it was an issue until this year, but probably the 3 best games that we've played this year have all been on the road, whether it was Wisconsin, Georgia, or this past game at Texas A&M. I think it's a matter of what I talked about before, being able to stay focused on what you need to do your job, play in and play out. And just because you're at home, and whether it's family, friends, the atmosphere, the distractions that can create, as a mature competitor, you can't be affected by external factors. I talked about friendly fire before, but, I look at our team and, I'm like, we play different when it's 28-6 than we do when it's 0-0. Well, there's not supposed to be a scoreboard. You're supposed to have enough killer instinct to keep playing at a high level and execute and do your job. So, can't be the scoreboard, can't be playing at home, can't be the fans. I mean, all those things should be positive things that enhance your chances of competition, affects the other team. So something that we just got to continue to address and try to get the players to focus better and do a better job.
We're on the left of Matt.
Nick, 2 questions. First of all, since the Ole Miss game, just how much have you seen the team grow and evolve? And do you feel like that loss maybe led to certain guys or the entire team maybe focusing in even a little bit more than they were leading into that game?
Well, I can't speak about that. I think our team is improving. I don't think that, as a group of competitors, anybody here is satisfied when they don't have success. I don't think that it's something that, even though it's human nature, that you don't respond to things properly when they're going well. Something bad has to happen for people to want to change and do things that they could have done way before something bad happened. And I'm not saying that's the case with our team. I know we have a lot of competitors on our team that were not satisfied with that performance, and we have tried to get better. But my point of emphasis is, where are we now? What do we need to do to get better? And those are the things that I talked about here today in terms of being able to focus and play with more consistency. Don't want to create momentum for the other team by not staying focused in the game and doing what you need to do to play your best through 60 minutes of football.
And second question, just in terms of the pass rush, what did you see that allowed you guys to have the success that you did as a pass rush and just being as disruptive as you guys were the other day, or was it just as simple as players beating players?
No, I think that, they passed the ball a lot. They weren't able to run it. We created a lot of passing situations, which, lets us play the kind of defenses and lets the players pin their ears back a little bit and us to make calls that enhance pressure. And, we're fortunate to have some pretty good guys who can execute it and do a good job in that regard. So I think, when it's 2nd and 5, it's hard to rush the passer. When it's 2nd and 10, it's a lot easier. When it's 3rd and 8, it's a lot easier. And we created a lot of those situations in the game, and I think, we were able to affect the quarterback because of it.
Over here, there.
I know you haven't been on the field with the team this week, but you guys played 7 straight games. Where do you think they are in terms of fatigue mentally and physically? And do you have a message for that this week?
No, I'm not making the assumption that, we try to control the workload so that our players can get ready to play each and every week. We gave the players 2 days off a few weeks ago so that they could get some rest and recovery. So, it goes back to how bad do you want to do what you want to do. Everybody controls their focus. If you can't jump, you can't jump, we can't fix it. But we can fix your ability to focus. That's something you choose to do. Anybody can choose to do that. You can stay focused in this meeting, or you can daydream in this press conference. You do whatever you want. But that is something that you can get people to do. All right, so if you assume you're tired and you assume I can't focus here, then you probably won't. All right, but if you can stay locked in and do what you want to do, then it's not an issue and it's not a problem, because most of that stuff is right here in your head. All right, it's not anything wrong with you physically. All right, we put those, what do you call it, catapult thing on guys. They run just as fast now as they did, 2 months ago. So, if they think they're slower, it's not because they're running slower, it's because they think they're slower. So I think we're getting better, and I think this is an opportunity for us to play better even in this game. We certainly need to in some areas of our team, and we got to focus on improving those things. So, we took last week we wore shells on Monday to eliminate some of the hitting, to try to, get our team through that. And, I think it's, how bad do you want to do something?
Okay, we'll stay right there. Mark?
Two quick ones. You mentioned the penalty on the special teams. What did you say to Sean Dion after he made that mistake and got ejected?
Well, I think you got to see what you hit. I don't think he intentionally, hit the guy helmet to helmet. He was playing with toughness and he was being aggressive. But I think especially an unprotected player in a situation like that, what we tell the players, you've got to see what you hit and you have to lower your target. And all you can do is learn from it. It was not intentional. He's not that kind of person. And, the guy's played well for us on special teams, and he's played well for us when he's had to play, and he's a good person. And I think that's the lesson to be learned.
And the second one, when you see Jake running around and scrambling and lowering his shoulder into defenders, what's going through your mind on those plays?
He's a tough guy. And what, you want him to run out of bounds? Well, I'm just telling you, sometimes I wish he wouldn't take the hits, but I kind of like to see the other team's reaction when he does that. Does it bother you when Derrick Henry does it? No. Well, it doesn't bother me either. I kind of like it when he runs over him. So, it's the personality of the player. All right, Jake is a tough, competitive guy. He's a big physical guy. He's getting better and better every week. All right, so I don't want to take his aggressiveness away because we're fearful that something bad's going to happen. And I just don't coach that way.
Over to Michael.
You guys traditionally had two-back attack on offense. How do you think that's gone this year in terms of Derrick Henry and Kenyon Drake?
I don't understand the question. What two-back attack are you talking about?
Usually have two running backs. Usually a 1-2 combination. Seems more Derrick Henry this year. How do you think that dynamic is going?
Well, it's going well for Derrick Henry. He's having a great year and certainly done a fantastic job. We would like to get more players involved so that we can, sort of spread out some of the load. And I think we'd like to get Kenyon Drake more involved. And, we have other guys that I think can play running back as well. But these guys have got to understand that they've got to be able to go out there and execute and do the job properly, do it in practice, prepare themselves well, and be able to go execute it in the game. We need more people to do that, and I'd like to see it happen at running back as well.
John Senior, please.
This is the first time you've seen Joshua Dobbs when it was kind of his team. He's come in and made some plays the last couple of years. But have you seen? Can you kind of tell on the field that he's the maturity level? He's had some good games in their biggest game.
Well, he had a really good game against us last year. We played the whole game against him except the first 3 plays. So maybe it wasn't his team, but it certainly we had to play against him all day. He's gotten better. You can tell he's got a great understanding of what the expectation is for him and what he needs to do on offense. I think it looks like he's a very good leader. I see the players responding, positively to him. So I don't think there's any question about the fact that the guy is really playing well and has had a great year so far.
I know you touched on it a little bit about targeting, but I want to ask you specifically about the rule. What kind of impact do you think it's had on the sport overall? Do you think it's impacted the sport in a positive way, the increased emphasis on targeting?
Well, look, I think we should continue to have increased emphasis on player safety. And anything that we do that enhances player safety, which I think the new targeting rules have done, they're probably not perfect, and I know there's a lot of good people working on trying to improve them, and we'll continue to do that. So, look, I don't want to see any of our players get hit in the head, and I don't want any of our players to hit somebody else's player in the head. All right, so, and I think these are good rules, and I think it makes us coach better in terms of trying to make guys aware of how they should block and how they should tackle for player safety.
Here we can.
Even with A&M going fast, it looked like you guys were more successful in getting your passing situation guys, defensive guys on the field. Is that something they have improved on, and what's significant about that?
We've been doing it all year. I mean, we got caught one time, Petway was about 2 yards from the boundary, and, we got a 5-yard penalty for that. But, that's what we've been doing all year. All right, we've been trying to do that all year long, and I think it's helped us some. It's allowed us to play more players. And, sometimes you get caught. Like, you have to assume, what are you going back to on the next play? If they convert on first down. Like, Georgia had about a 15-yard run on us when we had to put nickel in, and they were in regular because we had to get dime out. All right, so they ran a sweep, and we didn't do a very good job on it, and they ended up gaining some yards. But I think there's going to be plays where maybe it's not the most advantageous thing, but I do think it's helped us some on third down.
Two more, Alex and then Dwayne.
You've talked about Eddie Jackson's athleticism, how that's helped him at the safety position, but where have you seen him improve in other areas like recognition, anticipation, some of that other stuff?
Well, Eddie's always been a very instinctive guy. He's made a lot of plays at corner. He could read, run, pass. He's very instinctive. Some of that stuff you teach guys what to do, but that part of it you can't necessarily, get guys in terms of how fast they react, in terms of what they see. I've used the baseball analogy with you before. You can teach a guy how to swing the bat. You can teach him what the strike zone is, but, some guys hit 350 and some guys hit 200. But you can't really teach him whether it's a ball or strike from the time it leaves the pitcher's hand and gets to home plate. And, Eddie's a very instinctive guy. So once he learned, what to do, learned how to apply it, he reads and reacts to things very quickly, and I think that's what gives him a jump.
Last one here.
Yeah, Coach Minka obviously playing the star. What do you see him morphing into as his career develops, as a corner or as a safety?
Well, right now he's a corner, but, as we've done in the past with a lot of freshmen, we try to minimize the multiples. There's not a lot of carryover between playing corner and playing star in terms of techniques, what you do, repetitions, assignments. So we've played so much nickel that only in the games where we're not going to play a lot of nickel, like the Georgia game, does he get any reps at all at playing corner? But we have no reason to think that he can't be a very good corner in the future. But I do think that, he's going to have some time to practice it and develop there. So, but I also think he could play safety if he wanted to be a safety. But, corners are, a little more difficult to, find. And he's certainly been a good one for us so far.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.